it is about time. We have attained the quorum and now call the meeting to order. Item 1, confirmation of the minutes of the 18th meeting held on March the 1st. We have received no proposed amendments from colleagues. Unless I hear anything otherwise, can I confirm the minutes? Thank you. Next, meeting with the CS. I wasn't there. Perhaps I defer to the Vice Chairman. Chairman, thank you. We brought up a concern with the CS at the meeting that there are 21 bills that have yet to be introduced to the Council, and we very much hope that before the middle part of June, the administration will introduce all the rest of the bills to the Council so that we don't really have to have everything bunched together in the final month of the year. The CS said in reply that this year, like last year, may present some difficulties. There may be some bills for which bills committees have to be set up, but scrutiny will be conducted in the next year. And I told the CS that if this carries on like this, the workload for the final year will be really crushing. And the CS said she appreciated this sentiment for more complicated bills. She said she would make sure that they will be introduced as soon as possible. There were also other concerns raised about the EA panel's visit to South Korea. And she said previously the Bureau Secretary and LegCo members did not join the same visit at the same time. And we said that we did so at the request of the chairman of the panel, and we did achieve a consensus with the Bureau. The other concern that the CS raised was that during the budget speech, someone threw something at the Secretary, and we have dealt with this, and we do have provisions to deal with these matters. Ms. Emily Lau, Chairman, thank you. Two things, if I may. The first one is the introduction of the bills. I'm not sure whether other members are in agreement. We are worried that the administration would like to give us limited time for scrutiny and to force our hands to pass the bills, because if they're introduced in a way that would give us a long time, there would be a lot of discussion. I hope that the administration will understand that maybe this is not the idea of the CS. I think all officials should be impressed upon that there should be sufficient time for us to discuss the bills. About the visits, the duty visits, are we talking about two different delegations, or are we talking about a joint declaration between members and the officials? Well, the CS gave me the impression that she would encourage the bureaus to abide by the timetable, but she was being frank as she told us that this may not be achievable in some cases. The second issue, at the meeting, the chairman of the EA panel mentioned the Bureau Secretary who would attend the delegation. There are two delegations, but there are some joint activities that will take place. So this is my understanding. The chairman of the panel is not here with us now. I don't think there is anything for discussion. SG, please. Chairman, thank you. If I may, Chairman, we met the CS together with the Vice Chairman. We mentioned that for this duty visit, it was the EA panel delegation would set off one day earlier, and councillors will be meeting the local organizations. And on the second day, the government delegation will arrive, and then we will be having joint activities on the itinerary to respond to members' queries. This is not the first time that this has happened. It is the first time the Bureau Secretary is joining such visits, but it's not the first time the officials are coming along with us. Now, the panel did discuss this, and with the attendance of the Bureau Secretary, it would be of help to the visit. Ms. Emily Lau. Well, we visited Japan a couple of years ago about environmental protection. We had some technocrats joining us because they are really people who are doing the practical work. I don't think there are any problems with officials joining us. Perhaps it would be a good idea for the Secretary to get hold of more information. We have to discuss the refuse charging, the landfilling, and so on. If we can gather all the information, it would be good for discussion when we come back. Well, I think the panel did have a fair amount of discussion. We'll leave it to the panel on this. As regards the introduction of bills, and we will bring this up every couple of every other meetings to the administration sometimes would fall behind. We will certainly bring this up as a breach between the official and councillors. Chairman, on the second day of the visit, the fellow members will be meeting the Korean guests together with the officials. Now, what if we don't see eye to eye, and if we have a heated argument in front of our guests, then that would be showing us in kind of embarrassing light. Well, this is a fact-finding visit, and I think all the details we might wish to leave them until we come back to this forum. So I hope that officials and councillors should be more forgiving, and they should not engage in any heated arguments in front of our guests. Well, the chairman of the EA panel is not here, but the vice chair is here. I'm sure that this will be conveyed. Ms. Emily Lau. Chairman, I'm not a member of the panel, but I've signed up for that. I go along with Mr. Vincent Fang. Now, we should learn from the Korean experience, but I don't think we should be embroiled in any heated arguments in front of our guests. Now, we visited the Eastern European countries when the subject of one country, two systems was brought up. We did have a pretty heated debate, but I don't think this will happen in Korea. If we don't have the same view, if we don't see eye to eye, I said that we can come back for more debate here. I go along with Mr. Fang. Well, I think we can have some ginseng soup for members to cool members down. Mr. Raymond Wong. Well, we are the guests. They are the hosts. I think you have got this the other way around. We are the well, I don't think we should have any discussion on this one. We have to leave it to the panel itself. Okay, moving on next to smoking, public health, designation of no smoking areas, Amendment Notice 2013. Mr. James Toh sought a deferment last time. Mr. Toh, please. Well, I've scrutinized that. I don't have any particular to add. Subcommittee? If not, just a reminder that the deadline for amendment is March the 27th. Okay, next, Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation gazetted on March the 1st. Legal advisor, please. Legal advisor is not speaking through. Legal advisor? Chairman. There are 2 items that were gazetted on March the 1st. Please refer to paper LS 29/12 to 13. The first one is Rating Exemption Order 2013 under the Rating Ordinance. This is to give effect to the rates concession proposed in the budget speech. All tenements are exempted from payment of rates in respect of all quarters in the period from April 1st to 2013 to March 31st, 2014, subject to a cap of $1,500. The second one, also to do with the budget, Revenue Reduction of Business Registration Fees Order 2013. This is to reduce the business registration certificates and branch registration certificates fees. This will go into effect on the 1st of April. Right, this will be tabled on March the 20th. Do you see the need for a subcommittee? If not, I've got a question for the legal advisor, not so much a subcommittee. If the budget is not carried, the $1,500 will be charged. Is that right? Legal advisor. Now, for the budget, the expenditure and the revenue are not related. So even if the budget is thrown out, the fee will still be waived. Well, this will go into effect on the 1st of April. Unless further subsidiary legislation is introduced, it will remain in effect. Right, the deadline for amendment is April the 17th. Moving on next to the Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation gazetted on March 8th. Chairman, will members please refer to paper LS 30. Again, 2 items. The first one is rather technical in nature. Legislation Publication Revision Order 2013. The Secretary for Justice is making this under the Legislation Publication Ordinance. This is to make revisions to an ordinance for the purpose of securing consistency in expression and to comply with the style of drafting. Like, for instance, in recent years, they will adopt a gender-neutral expressions, and also they try to avoid the use of shall, and instead they use must. We do have a summary in the table form for members appended in the paper. The second one is under the Telecommunications Ordinance. Communications apparatus exemption from licensing exemption or amendment order 2012. The subcommittee did look into this and did not raise any amendments, and the government has designated the 10th of May as the commencement date. Subcommittee. Vice Chairman. If I may put this to the legal advisor, you talked about the Legislation Publication Revision Order 2013. Is it technical in nature? There is nothing in principle there in the order? Yes, indeed, Chairman. Well, this is covered in the principal ordinance. This is only about technical terms instead of the principles of the legislation, of the policy.
Do you want to have a subcommittee? No? Then the 17th of April, please note that's the deadline for moving amendments. Next business for the Council meeting of the 20th of March 2013. First of all, report number 12 of 2012 to 13 of the House Committee on Consideration of Subsidiary Legislation and Other Instruments. The report covers 2 items of subsidiary legislation, including the Personal Data Privacy Amendment Ordinance 2012 commencement notice. And the period for amendment will expire on the 20th of March. And then another one. Well, as somebody would like to speak on the notice, so I will be moving a motion to take note of the report. Questions. We have already allotted 20 questions. Bills, first reading and moving of second reading. Pilotage Amendment Bill 2013 and Air Pollution Control Amendment Bill 2013. They will be considered at the next HC meeting. Government motions. 3 proposed resolutions to be moved by the Secretary for Transport and Housing under the section, that is Section 53B of the Public Bus Services Ordinance, Cap 230, in relation to the foreign 3 bus companies, New World, Longwind, and City Bus Limited. The Secretary for Transport and Housing has given notices to move the resolutions, and the committee has reported to the House Committee on the 1st of March. The next one is a proposed resolution to be moved by Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury under the Public Finance Ordinance. This is to deal with the vote on account. Next, members' motions. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong will be moving a resolution under Section 34(4) of the Interpretation and General Clauses Ordinance Cap 1 in relation to the Import and Export General Amendment Regulation 2013. Mr. Wong will be moving a motion to extend the scrutiny period to the 17th of April. The next one, proposed resolution to be moved by Honourable Tam Yu Chung under Article 75 of the Basic Law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. This is to increase the number of question slots by 2. That is, we'll have 2 more written questions. And then Martin Liu will move a motion on promoting Hong Kong's economic restructuring, while Mr. Wong Kwok Kin will move a motion on implementing the Kai-Tak planning to dovetail with the Kowloon East development. The deadline for giving notice of amendments has expired on the 13th of March. As to the business for council meeting on the 27th of March. Again, we have arranged for 20 questions to be asked. Bills, first reading, we haven't received any notice. Members' motions, first of all, a motion to be moved by Honourable Paul Chair urging the government to eradicate gutter oil and take the lead in supporting biodiesel. And then Dr. Priscilla Leung will move a motion on improving property management and operation of owners' corporations. If members would like to give notice to move amendments, please note the deadline will be the 20th of March. We have got 9 items of subsidiary legislation, the period for amendment of which will expire on the 27th of March, and the list has been tabled at this meeting. So members, if we would like to speak on any of them, please notify the Secretariat by 5 o'clock on Tuesday, 19th of March. Report of bills committees and subcommittees. First report of the subcommittee on subsidiary legislation made under the new companies ordinance, Wong Ting Kwong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subcommittee has already completed the deliberation in relation to the first batch of 5 pieces of subsidiary legislation to implement the new companies ordinance. We held 4 meetings to discuss the clauses in the light of the concerns of members, as well as the possible difficulties to be encountered in the operation. The administration has made proposals to amend the company's directors' reports regulation and company's summary financial report regulation, like restating the disclosure requirement of debentures, expanding the scope of disclosure in relation to directors' reason to resign. And also, in the directors' reports, we would like to add the requirement to disclose material interests. And it is also said that for the summary financial reports, they should contain information disclosed in the footnotes to the financial reports under the company's disclosure of information about benefits of directors. We do not have any objection to the relevant proposals. We are going to submit a written report afterwards. On the 27th of March, the administration is going to submit a second batch of 2 pieces of subsidiary legislation. And the subcommittee has already scheduled a meeting on the 9th of April so as to commence the deliberation work. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wong. I just want to remind members that the 5 items of subsidiary legislation, if you want to move amendments, the deadline will be the 20th of March because the deadline to move amendments will be the 27th. Next, report of the subcommittee on securities and futures, contracts limits and reportable positions amendment rule 2013. James To. Mr. Chairman, the Securities and Futures Contracts Limits and Reportable Positions Amendment Rules 2013 has the following objective. In relation to the HSI Volatility Index futures contracts and US dollars against renminbi Hong Kong futures contracts, the administration would like to provide for the position limits and the reportable positions. That is, it prescribes the limits on the number of such positions that any person may hold or control. We have had 2 meetings. We deliberated upon the amendments. I would like to say a few words. First of all, for HSI Volatility Index futures contracts, it's easier to understand because the position limits and the reportable positions are similar to the HSI futures and options. We spent more time on the second kind of futures contracts concerning USDC and H. And so each contract will be of a value of 100,000 US dollars. And then we will be having a 5,000 contract limit for any 1 month. We were concerned that if anybody are holding on to 2,000 contracts, and then they would hold on until the end, and if we have to have physical delivery, then it is said that perhaps there will be impacts on the fluctuations of the Hong Kong dollar against RMB. We have a circulation of 720 billion renminbi in Hong Kong. So if somebody is to have 2,000 contracts, each measuring 100,000 US dollars, and they have to look for renminbi, it means that we need to have $200 million worth of US dollars equivalent of RMB. So if we need that much RMB, in other words, Hong Kong may be seeing a huge volatility, jeopardizing our financial security. So we asked many questions. Mr. James To, well, we have to hand back the venue by 3 o'clock. I've already made the most important point. I'm about to finish. We have looked at the exchanges elsewhere having similar arrangements. The main competitor will be Chicago. For South Africa, they haven't got any position limits. Chicago has the same sort of limits. The administration has been able to convince us because if we further reduce the limit, the business may go to Chicago, and yet the RMB settlement will eventually take place in Hong Kong, even though it generates from Chicago. So without this position limit, will be even more vulnerable. So it's better to align our position limits with theirs. And then for the large open positions, I understand that they will be settled in Hong Kong, and they will have more information for the purpose of management, and we can manage the risk. So we understood the point, and we support the government's position, and we don't propose any amendments. Thank you. So the 27th of March will be the deadline for moving amendments. Next, report of the Subcommittee on Residential Properties First-Hand Sales Ordinance Commencement Notice. Mr. Chen Kam Lam. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have had 2 meetings. to look at the residential properties first-hand sales ordinance commencement notice. We support the ordinance so as to improve the transparency and fairness of the sales arrangements of the first-hand residential properties and provide more protection to the consumers. But then some members were concerned that when the ordinance is to come into effect towards the end of April, we aren't too sure whether all the stakeholders, like the administration, the sales of first-hand residential properties authority and the vendors are ready. Therefore, we asked the administration for information so as to tell us about the progress of the preparation work as well as the content of the guidelines. And we would like to know about the recruitment of staff. We understand that the administration is of the opinion that they will be fully ready towards the end of April. We have completed the deliberation. We're not going to move any amendments. Our written report will be submitted next week. All right, thank you, Mr. Chen. Again, like the previous two items, deadline for an amendment is the 27th of March and deadline for giving notice 20th of March. Any questions? No. Position on both committees and subcommittees. As of the 14th of March, there are 5 bills committees, 7 subcommittees under the HC, and 7 subcommittees on policy issues under panels in action, and 3 committees on policy issues under panels on the waiting list. Members, any questions? AOB. Anything under AOB? No. Meeting adjourned.